So rallies, people are generally shocked to think that we're actually driving Land Rovers around a stage. You look at the height, the size of them, you think that the centre of gravity is going to make them roll when you come into these corners quite fast, but they generally shock people in what the vehicle can actually do.
The team has been going many years. In fact, it started, the history of it goes back to the Scottish Rally, when members of the military were asked to come along in Land Rovers and help to recover rally cars. And then the Land Rovers started competing, and it just grew from there. Initially it was the Army Rally team, and then 15 years ago, recognising the tri-service nature of the participation, it became the Armed Forces Rally team.
So I heard about the team after I'd been in the Armed Forces for a couple of years, but never really knew how to join. It wasn't until 2014. I was doing adventure training with my unit, and my CO, who happens to be Colonel Sunderland, was there, and he kind of offered it out to the people that were there. He's like, does anyone want to join the Armed Forces Rally team? And my hand was straight up. I was like, I want to be a part of this. I've been wanting to be a part of it for a long time. Didn't know how to get into it, and luck just kind of fell on my doorstep, and now I'm here.
The Land Rover Wolves that we use are ex-military specification. Some of them may well have been used in Afghanistan or other areas of operations. We often find sand in the chassis when we come to prepare them for the rally specification.
The vehicles that we're using here are a variant of the vehicle called a 90, which is a short wheelbase version. The Armed Forces used to have two variants, which was the 90 and the 110. A couple of years ago, we actually got rid of all the 90s, so they're either scrapped or sold off. But obviously, with rallying, we're going to use the shorter wheelbase because it's slightly faster than the longer wheelbase. And when they did scrap them and sold them off, we managed to get hold of a few more to keep in like back storage to help us fix and repair ours.
You opened the cap on the brake masks?
They're as close as what we can possibly make it to the military variant of the vehicle, obviously with some upgrades and modifications to make it suitable for rallying, such as a strengthened roll cage, nitrogen shock absorbers, better tyres, poly bushes. Handles like a boat. Whereas a normal standard car, you got that bit of rigidity coming around corners. These, because of the ground clearance and the height between the axle and the chassis, you get a lot of body roll as you go around the corners as the weight shifts. You kind of got to be a bit mean with it. Sometimes, yeah, if the corner's right for it, you can glide through a corner as if it was a normal car, but when you're talking like hairpin corners and stuff like that, the turning circle of the Land Rover itself is quite big. If you've got like a hairpin right, you literally have to take the widest route around. Sometimes you need to try to Scandi flick it around to help you get around the corner, because if it's a corner where there's a ditch on the outside of the exit, obviously if you go around too wide and you can't get a tight enough corner into it, you'll end up most of the time having to reverse. And it's been known quite a few times to see a Land Rover reversing on the stage just to help itself get around a corner. It's the strangest thing. Car pulls up. Why has he stopped? Why is he reversing? Team. Doesn't matter what background you're from, you can be a military vet, you can be in the military band, playing trumpets, yeah.
We like people who can bring something to the team as well. So like if they can tow vehicles, if they're a mechanic, if they're even down to making a good cup of tea, to be fair, it is. But we have got our service manager, which we call Uncle Ray.
Uncle Ray.
He worked for Formula One for 35 years, so what he doesn't know about motorsport is quite scary, to be honest.
Yeah.
He's personal friends with Lewis Hamilton. Gets a Christmas card every year from him. I'd say he takes all the newbies and he explains to them and he coaches them, brings them on, and he'll literally like an idiot's guide on how to change a wheel of a Land Rover. You start off very small and then work your way up. That's exactly what I did. I mean, my trade's to do with tanks. Driving a tank and commanding a tank is totally different to a Land Rover. You ask me to change a track on a tank, I can do it. Ask me to check a thermostat of a Land Rover, I was like,
I thought I'd just try doing a normal job. I thought I'd just go into work, do my job, come home again. That sounds good. And really, after 25, 30 years of motor racing, I couldn't really do it. It was very, very hard to get the motor racing out of my system. In the real world, time is money, and it's quite hard for me to adjust there. So I found myself in the wilderness for about a year, not really knowing what I wanted to do, but I definitely didn't want to go racing again. And then I just sort of like found myself at Babcock International in Aldershot, and I was literally only there for a couple of weeks, and I had the old Ray, you used to work in motor racing, did you know that we're a primary sponsor of the Armed Forces rally team? I was like, never heard of you. And they said, there's a phone number, make yourself useful. And that was 2014. So I made myself useful, and here we are now 4 years later, being very useful, but probably being working for the most enjoyable team. We're not the best team, but we're certainly an enjoyable team. We have got old mechanics, we've got old technology, but what we do have is that we have spirit here. The guys have got spirit. They're driving cars that shouldn't really be driven. The Land Rovers, they don't look any prettier. They don't start very pretty. They don't finish very pretty. But that's what the Land Rover thing is. I didn't get this Land Rover thing at all. You see all these people with their wonderful Land Rovers, and they've got lift kits and wheels and luggage racks and ladders, and I really didn't get it until I joined this team and I started messing around with Land Rovers on a permanent basis, and then it clicked, like what makes a Land Rover so special, and it literally can do anything.
With the team, we mainly do events around the United Kingdom. During my time in the team, I've been to Iceland twice. I've also done Ypres Rally in Belgium. Every year we participate in the Wales Rally GB. Also, we attend the Goodwood Festival of Speed every year.
I'd love to get to the stage where I'm competing against Thierry Neuville, to be honest, but we can only dream of that one. We're only in Land Rovers, not Subarus and Evos. In our Land Rover class, in our 4x4 class, we've got a championship, like a league within our own team as well. So say like you get championship co-driver and driver as well. Best service crewman, it's like chief mechanic, best for the year and everything. So it's really all about us, and the point system works, where depending on what place you finish, just within us. It doesn't really mean anything to like the BRC or the WRC, but to us it's a pride thing as well. It's good, and if you make a few mistakes, you could throw it away at the last minute.
It makes it more enjoyable as well.
Yeah, it does. It's because you're in the military, you're always competitive, aren't you? You always want to be the best. So, but again, you always laugh and take the mick out of each other for stupid mistakes.
Like a ditch.
Yeah.
Twice. Fourth
stage.
Yeah, the fourth stage. We found a ditch. We're going to blame the tyres for that one, aren't we?
It was the tyres' fault.
We had brand new tyres, so
it was.
slid out a little bit. We found a ditch. It was just boggy ground, so we dug ourselves in. We got pulled out of that.
Thanks to Rob.
Yeah, thanks to Rob, he pulled us out. And then we had to do the stage again later on. I think it was the last stage, very last stage. And bearing in mind, it's like the first or second corner. I was like,
And we were winning as well.
yeah, we were winning. I said, John, this is the corner. This is our ditch on the left. Stay right. I even repeated it as well. And yeah, did the opposite to what I said. So it's right, left, and right on his hand. I think.
I do take full responsibility for that. That was my fault. We ended up coming third in class because it was 6 minutes.
But we finished though.
But we finished. That was the main important
main thing. Yeah.
We got out of the ditch and we finished, which was
But our first rally. It was the main thing.
yeah. I think that's more of like an etiquette thing between the team. Even if you're winning and you know that you're going to win that stage and you're getting the best time, you see one of your other Romeos in a ditch and you can stop and help him without even thinking. I believe to say every single driver and co-driver wouldn't even think twice about winning the stage.
Yeah.
They'd stop and get their team out because we'd rather have all Romeos finish than have one out of the race and only 3 or 4 finish.
Yeah.
I'd say that's just polite as well, to be fair.
I think that's,
And at the end, you get quite a few beers as well as a thank you.
yeah, so we dished out quite a lot of beers last.
Yes, we did. It cost me quite a lot of money.
The way they click is very unique. I've never seen it in any other team ever. I've seen lots of teams be split by confrontations with drivers and team owners. With this team, it just doesn't happen. We're all there to get 6 cars to finish at the end of the day. We always want a winner, but we will always make sure that all 6 finish, no matter how. This is the most enjoyable team that I've worked for. Every time I come away from an event, I feel very drained, I feel very tired, but I also feel very happy.